Follow the money, 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 follow the money.
Whoever convinced Elon Musk to speak at that press conference today is trying to save America. Every day that he goes after these departments, every day that he is shutting down these agencies, it is getting harder and harder to justify it or explain how this is helping the country. In fact, none of you guys who voted for this administration have yet to be able to tell anyone what they are doing. You all say the same thing. You go, what are they afraid of him finding? You say this is all going to work out once he discovers where the wasteful spending is. And you really love leaning on that talking point of $50 million in condoms going to Gaza. But he literally just said, verbatim, in front of a camera, in the Oval Office, that some of the things that I say will be incorrect. He said that in direct response to a question about the $50 million in condoms going to Gaza being found to not be a true statement. The man has clearly said on camera he is not always going to give the right information, probably because he does not have it. I keep telling you guys, he is not looking to save the country any money. He spent more time talking about what federal workers make in the government. What did he talk about in terms of wasteful spending? He used a lot of buzzwords. He used a lot of those words that you guys love hearing in order to think that this administration is working in your favor, but he did not produce any evidence. And I'm telling you right now, whoever's idea it was to actually get him in front of a camera to start speaking is trying to get him thrown under the bus. This is out of the Donald Trump playbook, all right? He understands everybody is calling him President Musk. He also understands that Elon has never played this kind of game before. This is not like Joe Rogan, where he's going to softball you questions in a controlled environment where you get to talk about the things you are actually knowledgeable of. This is the government, okay? It's not a business. You absolutely cannot run the government like a business, because when you do that, you start breaking the law. They are going to find a way to get rid of him. Anytime Donald Trump sees somebody in his orbit start to get extra spotlight, he gives them the rope to hang themselves. I've said this before, this breakup has been a long time in the making, but it is happening. They set him up with that press conference. They absolutely did. And I promise it's going to play a significant role in whatever brings him down in the future.
Detractors, Mr. Musk.
I have to, what?
Including a lot of Democrats.
I have detractors?
You do, sir.
I don't believe it.
Say that you're orchestrating a hostile takeover of government and doing it in a non-transparent way. What's your response to that criticism?
Well, first of all, you couldn't ask for a stronger mandate from the public. The public voted, we have a majority of the public voting for President Trump. We've won the House, we won the Senate. The people voted for major government reform. There should be no doubt about that. That was on the campaign. The president spoke about that at every rally. The people voted for major government reform, and that's what people are going to get. They're going to get what they voted for. And a lot of times, people that don't get what they voted for, but in this presidency, they are going to get what they voted for. And that's what democracy is all about. Well, if you don't have a feedback loop, okay, we would have to, if you sorry. So your gravitas can be different.
And also, could you mention some of the things that your team has found, some of the crazy numbers, including the woman that walked away with about 30 million?
Right.
Etc.
Well, we do find it sort of rather odd that there are quite a few people in in the bureaucracy who have ostensibly a salary of a few $100,000, but somehow manage to accrue tens of millions of dollars in net worth while they are in that position, which is, what happened at USAID. We're just curious as to where it came from. Maybe they're very good at investing, in which case we should take their investment advice, perhaps. But there seems to be mysteriously they get wealthy. We don't know why. Where does it come from? And I think the reality is that they're getting wealthy at the taxpayer expense. That's the honest truth of it.
Now, one thing also that Elon hasn't really mentioned are the groups of people that are getting some of these payments. They're ridiculous. And we're talking about billions of dollars that we've already found. We found fraud and abuse because most of these things are virtually made up, or certainly money shouldn't be sent to them. And you know what I'm talking about. It's crazy. So, but we're talking about tens of billions of dollars that we've already found. And now a judge who's an activist judge wants to try and stop us from doing this. Why? Why would they want to do that? I campaigned on this. I campaigned on the fact that I said government is corrupt. And it is very corrupt. It's very, very, it's also foolish. As an example, a man has a contract for 3 months and the contract ends, but they keep paying him for the next 20 years, because nobody ends a contract. You got a lot of that. You have a contract that's a 3-month contract. Now, normally, if you're in a small, in all fairness, it's the size of this thing is so big.
Yeah.
But if you have a contract and you're in a regular business, you end the contract in 3 months. It's a consultant. Here's a contract for 3 months, but it goes on for 20 years. And the guy doesn't say that he got money for 20 years, They don't say it. They just keep getting checks month after month. And you have various things like that, and even much worse than that, actually, much worse. And I guess you call that incompetence, maybe.
Yeah.
It could be corruption. It could be a deals made on both sides, where the guy gets the money, he kicks. I think there's a lot of kickback here. I see a lot of kickback here.
There's a lot of kickbacks.
A tremendous kickback, because nobody could be so stupid to give out some of these contracts. So he has to get a
The White House
kickback.
says that you will identify and excuse yourself from any conflicts of interest that you may have. Does that mean that you are in effect policing yourself? What are the checks and balances that are? Says that you will identify and excuse yourself from any conflicts of interest that you may have. Does that mean that you are in effect policing yourself? What are the checks and balances that are in place to ensure that there is accountability and transparency?
Well, we actually are trying to be as transparent as possible. In fact, we post our actions to the Doge handle on X and to the Doge website. So all of our actions are maximally transparent. In fact, I don't think there's been, I don't know of a case where an organization has been more transparent than the Doge organization. So, and the kind of things we're doing are, I think, very, very simple and basic. They're not, what I mentioned, for example, about Treasury, just making sure that payments that go out, taxpayer money that goes out, is categorized correctly, that the payment is explained, that organizations on the do not pay list, which takes a lot to get there, that actually are not paid, which currently they are paid. These are not individual judgment decisions. These are about simply having sensible checks and balances in the system itself to ensure that taxpayer money is spent well. So it's got nothing to do with, like, say, a contract for some company of mine at all.
But if there is a conflict of interest when it comes to you yourself, for instance, you've received billions of dollars in federal contracts when it comes to the Pentagon, for instance, which the president, I know, has directed you to look into.
Yeah.
Are you policing yourself in that? Is there any sort of accountability check and balance in place that would provide any transparency for the American people?
Well, all of our actions are fully public. So if you see anything, you say, like, wait a second, hey, Elon, that seems like maybe that's, there's a conflict there. It's not like people are going to be shy about saying that. They'll say it immediately,
Including you yourself.
Yes. But transparency is what builds trust, not simply somebody asserting trust. So not somebody saying they're trustworthy, but transparency, so you can see everything that's going on. And then you can see, am I doing something that benefits one of my companies or not? It's totally obvious.
And if we thought that, we would not let him do that segment or look in that area if we thought there was a lack of transparency or a conflict of interest. And we watch that also. He's a big businessman. He's a successful guy. That's why we want him doing this. We don't want an unsuccessful guy doing it.
The president and the Senate And we don't live in a democracy, we live in a bureaucracy. So it's incredibly important that we close that feedback loop, we fix that feedback loop, and that the public's elected representatives, the President, the House, and the Senate, decide what happens, as opposed to a large, unelected bureaucracy. This is, from one year to the next, are the same, and their prices from one year to the next are the same, and their prices.
Crazy. I've never seen a president so subservient to anyone in my life. I mean, just look at this image of Donald Trump sitting down while Elon Musk just hovers above him. He spoke more than Trump. He even interrupted the president of the United States. So no. Let me answer this one. Remember who your boss is. This is just, I mean, he shows up just like in casual. You think Mike Pence would have had an appearance like this in the Oval Office and Donald Trump would have allowed it? Of Mike Pence standing above him with his kids running around, showing you how seriously he's taking it, while interrupting him? No, I don't think he'd be cool with it. You think J.D. Vance is ever going to have an appearance like this, standing above the president? No. Only Elon can do that, because Elon is now president. They all like to call him Daddy Trump, but really they should be saying Daddy Musk, because that's who little bitch maid over here is subservient to. Just look at him. Even in this picture, he just looks like a child, while Elon's just like, sure, just I'll answer the questions. Fucking pathetic.
So I just finished watching the press briefing, the press conference between President Musk and Vice President Trump, and I mean, what the fuck just happened? Hey, MAGA, how did it feel to go to the polls and vote for Elon Musk? Oh, wait, you didn't. You voted for Donald Trump, who then sold the nation to the wealthiest people in history. I mean, you do know that Elon Musk is on track to becoming a trillionaire, and this whole time that he's been gutting government agencies, he's received $15 billion worth of government grants. You do know that, right? Don't you think it's also coincidental that the government agencies that he is cutting funding of and investigating with Doge are the same government agencies that are investigating him and his multiple different companies? You know, like we talked about this, how USAID was investigating Elon Musk and Starlink, right? Or how, I don't know, the Department of Labor was investigating Elon Musk and Twitter for racism in the workplace. Or how the FAA was investigating Elon Musk for his illegal rocket launches and the Starship explosion over Turks and Caicos that made 150 flights have to deviate off their course. All that stuff, you don't find it coincidental. That's just 4 of like 9 agencies. How about the FTC, right? How about the fact that Elon Musk is trying to launch X dollars, like a monetary currency that you can use on X to buy shit, probably NFTs. Well, the FTC opened up an investigation into that, just like they do with every other currency. Oh, well, the FTC is next on the chopping block. Are you guys like actually brain dead? I mean, don't you find it curious that Trump profited billions of dollars the day before his inauguration by launching a meme coin that has 50 mystery whales holding all of it? Who do you think those fucking whales are, bro? It's fucking Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, fucking Kevin O'Leary. It is the wealthiest men in our nation, and women, the wealthiest people in our nation, grouped up together and said, hey, Donald, you know how you've always wanted to be a real rich guy like us? Well, we'll help you become a real billionaire. All you gotta do in exchange is give us the federal government. So when the richest people on planet Earth told you that the ones who are responsible for you being poor were the immigrants and the transgender people, you just kind of believed them? Is that what this is, MAGA? Is that what this is, you pathetic husks of people? You can still come back to the right side of history. We won't forgive you, but we will welcome you onto our side to actively fight against the rise of fascism. Fucking come home already.